Welcome in, everybody. That music is so groovy. It's so sexy. I love it. Special thanks to our team at FTN for making me that coolest intro with the coolest music. Everybody, welcome in. It is Wind Up Wednesday, your TNF Prize Picks prop show. We did it, everybody. I'm Lauren Carpenter. You can find me at Stepmom Lauren. And like I said, we're going to be going over some Thursday night football prize picks, props. We also have starts and sits for week 2. We made it through week 1, everybody. How wild. And in case everyone forgot, week 1 is always super duper weird. So don't freak out. I'm here to help answer your questions. And I'm also here to help make you some money over on PrizePicks. If you haven't signed up for PrizePicks.com, what are you waiting for? PrizePicks is super easy, everyone. It is very simple. It's over-unders. That's it. Not just football. There are tons of sports. And if you haven't signed up yet, you are in luck. Because if you go over to prizepicks.com, use the promo code FTN, it gets your first deposit of up to $100 matched. That is free money. And then when you're done making your super simple over-unders, head on over to ftndaily.com. Because over there, we have a free tool. It's a picks tracker that we have for you. You can follow along with my picks. You can follow along with everyone else's picks over on FTN. And you can put your picks in and see how well you did. It's a super fun tool. We also have a free PrizePicks Discord channel. Just click that chat bubble right there over at the top. But we also have other things just besides those awesome free tools. We have amazing content over at ftnfantasy.com. And if you use my promo code, which is SML, that gives you 20% off any package at ftnfantasy.com. But again, head on over to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code FTN, as in FTF Fantasy, get your first deposit matched up to $100. Follow along on our FTN bets. FTN Daily. Woo, it's been a long day. ftndaily.com with our free Prize Picks bet tracker, as well as our Discord channel, which is also free, which is super fun. But you know what? Without further ado, let's hop right in to our TNF prize picks from prizepicks.com, everybody. This is going to be pretty super duper fun. I'm going to try to share my screen here. 1 second. We're working through this. My poor producer, Fox, has to put up with me because this is the story of my life. This is what I do. I'm always disorganized. But I've got something for you. This is going to be a little bit weird, everybody. So last week, I did pretty well, if I do say so myself. I got 4 out of 5 correct, which is pretty awesome. But this week, the lines are very, very tight. So I'm going to present these a little bit differently to you tonight. Right now, I am going to go head on over to the rushing yards tab that's right here, rush yards, and I'm going to pay particular attention to Austin Eckler right here. Austin Eckler, running back for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this is very interesting because his line is at 52.5. And that seems like it could be, kind of a no-brainer. He's their number 1 running back. But he rushed in week 1 for only 36 yards against the Raiders. Sony Michel and Josh Kelly are still heavily involved in that run game as well. And it's also still early in the season. So why not let Michel and Kelly take the brunt of the defenses they're facing up against? So for me, I think Austin Eckler is going to make his hay through the air as opposed to on the ground. So you know what? I am going to go ahead and take the under when it comes to his rushing yards. Now, you don't have to do all of these. In fact, I don't really think you can, but this is just kind of an example here of what to show you. But I'm going to stick with Austin Eckler. And in fact, I'm going to go right over here to rush attempts. That's rushing TDs. Where are you? Pass attempts. Rush attempts. There it is. I found it. And the only option we have here is Austin Eckler. He's at 13. Again, I'm staying in the same line of thought here when it comes to let Sony Michel, let Josh Kelly take the brunt of the work. I am going to go the under here. I'm going under on 13 rush attempts because I think he's going to have a little bit better time through the air with his receptions. He's eclipsed 13 rush attempts against the Chiefs only once since 2017. In fact, that was week 2 of 2020. And again, Sony Michel, Josh Kelly, they're there. They're cutting into his run work. So under for me on the 13 rush attempts for Austin Eckler. And guess what? We're not leaving him yet. We're going to head right on over to receptions, and we're staying with Austin Eckler. Again, these are options for you to choose from. You don't have to do every single one of these, but I'm going to stick with Austin Eckler here, and his receptions are only at 4.5. That's his line, 4.5. I'm going over. So if I'm going to go under on all the rushing that I think he's not going to do, this means I'm going to go over. In fact, the Chiefs allowed 8 receptions to the running back position last week. And again, there's no Keenan Allen, which means Justin Herbert will need additional pass catchers. And Austin Eckler, I don't know if you know this, but he is really, really good at catching the football. So we have a few more players here. Don't worry, I'm not just going to bombard you with Austin Eckler TNF picks here. We have a few more. In fact, 3 more, but I'm going to go 2 options here with none other than quarterback Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to go ahead and look at his interceptions. Again, like I said, the lines here are really, really tight on PrizePicks, but this one I thought was pretty interesting right here. So Patrick Mahomes' line here on the interceptions is just a half. So if he throws 1 against that much improved Chargers defense, you're good. I'm doing the over. In fact, the Chargers forced 3 interceptions last week against the Raiders. I really, really like this line. And again, the Chiefs have a mediocre run game. I didn't say they're awful, but I don't think they're awesome. But this team relies on getting points through the air, which means Mahomes is going to be passing, and that increases his opportunity for a turnover. So I'm taking the over here on a Patrick Mahomes interception. Again, 1 more for Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to go ahead and head right on over to passing touchdowns. And right here, we have Patrick Mahomes at 2.5. Please. This is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week, and it happens to be on a TNF. And if this TNF treats me anything like the other TNF did, hopefully I shall feast. I'm going over on 2.5. That's right. I think he's going to throw more than 3 touchdowns, but even if he just gets 3, you're good to go. I absolutely love this. I think it's going to be scoring bonanza. All right, we're going to move on to 2 other players here for your TNF prize picks. Again, use that promo code FTN if you have not signed up for prizepicks.com. So let's head on over to the receptions right there. And we're going to go with this guy, Travis Kelce. This is a little tight. I get it that this is a tight line here. However, I'm still going over. I'm going to go the over on Travis Kelce. The Chargers are weaker. I don't want to say they're weak. They're slightly weaker against the tight end position. They've ranked, I believe, the 11th worst against the position. Still, their defense is very good, but let's face it. Travis Kelce is the target monster in this offense. Enough said. I am doing the over on 7 receptions for Travis Kelce. And 1 more here I have for you. I'm going to stick with the Chiefs. And let's go ahead and go over to rushing and receiving yards tab. And I'm going to go with this guy right here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. This is tight. This is tight, my friends. This is a combination of his receiving yards and his rushing yards. And the line is set at only 68.5. Again, I'm looking here at the receiving yards for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like it. It's going to be close, but I'm going to go ahead and go the over here on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, again, I just want to reiterate, you likely can't do all of these, and I'm not telling you to do all of these, but here are some good options on prizepicks.com for a very, very tight TNF game between the Chargers and the Chiefs, which I am absolutely super duper stoked to watch. That's going to be a really fun game. And way to start it off on week 2. Okay, 2 great TNF matchups, although the week 1 didn't really turn out super duper awesome. But again, this is going to be great. I really hope that every TNF game is exciting as week 1 and week 2 have been. Now that we have done our prize picks, remember promo code FTN to get your first deposit matched up to $100. I'm going to go ahead and get into some starts and sits for week 2. Now, I have gotten a ton of questions on what people want to do. What are they looking for? What's the deal, especially with all of these injuries that have happened in the NFL here. So let's go ahead and do it the starts, everybody. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with Mike Williams. I know. He did not have a great game last week. I get it. He had, I think, 2 targets on 4 receptions for a measly 10 yards. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Keenan Allen is out. He is ruled out. There's going to be volume aplenty. It's very possible. I know it stinks because it's on that TNF game, and Mike Williams is boom or bust, but I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit more of a boom game than a bust game. And what's really great about this is that you can structure your roster around how Mike Williams does. But I'm going to go ahead and go for that upside play with Mike Williams. In fact, the Chiefs are tied 6th highest in targets allowed in week 1. Again, I mentioned it before, points galore. My next start of the week is none other than the old man himself, Julio Jones, hi, welcome back. I heart you. Julio Jones, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now, in case you missed it. They are going up against the New Orleans Saints. Chris Godwin is expected to miss some time. Hamstring injuries are super tricky, and it really stinks for Chris Godwin and Chris Godwin managers, but this is really good news for Julio Jones. I like the increase in targets. In fact, last week, he had 3 receptions on 5 targets for 69 yards. It's only a matter of time before Julio Jones sees the end zone. Julio Jones is a must start for me, especially in that flex position. Now, my next start is one that is very controversial because I have faded this guy every single place I can possibly go. However, you cannot avoid the matchup. It is too good. And my third start is Josh Jacobs, running back of the Las Vegas Raiders going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Let's hope for future that Josh Jacobs just smashes, because if you're the Jacobs manager, then you trade him. It's only a matter of time before Zamir White becomes a thing and eats into Josh Jacobs all of his targets, all of his touches. It's really not going to be pretty. However, the Cardinals last week, let's just look at the matchup. They allowed 23 carries for 172 yards and 3 touchdowns to the Chiefs. They're not exactly known for their stout running game, as I mentioned before. So again, if Jacobs pulls through, which I hope he does, not just for my own reputation, but for y'all, because if he does well, we're going to be trading away Josh Jacobs at the highest value that we possibly can in a very juicy matchup. And my last starts of the week, 2 options here, although I do prefer one over the other, but it is the run game for the Washington Commanders against the Detroit Lions. Wah, wah. As the spouse of a Lions fan, I am sorry, but I will frequently pick on the Lions. And I'm sorry. I love you, Detroit, but your team is a little needy. So for me, I'm going to go Antonio Gibson with a slight higher edge here over J.D. McKissic, but I do like both of them. The Lions allowed 22 carries for 126 yards and 3 touchdowns to the Eagles, also in a committee backfield, by the way. So good news for both of them. Still edge on Antonio Gibson. So in the Commanders, they do have a similar offense. That's kind of why I bring that point up with the committee between Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissic, Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott. I mean, running backs by committee are such a headache, but not when a defense allows multiple points and multiple touchdowns to multiple different running backs. This is going to be exciting, guys. I can't believe I'm literally targeting the Washington Commanders, but again, they're playing the Lions. So those are my 5 starts that I'm very excited about. But where we have starts, we also need to go look at the guys that we should sit. First one, I know everyone's very excited. Hold on to him, but don't play him just yet. There's a few of those that I have here on this list, but I'm going to go Nico Collins, wide receiver for the Houston Texans. They're playing against the Denver Broncos. That should be enough said. The Denver Broncos are very, very good. In fact, the Colts, 3 targets, 2 receptions. I mean, Nico Collins was not very involved. It's not pretty. Hang on to him, though. I don't think Nico Collins is going to be terrible rest of season, but I think he just needs a little bit more time. I think the Texans need a little bit more time to figure out what in the heck is going on with their offense. Lovie Smith, time management. Come on, man. Punting. Why? Moving on. My next sit, which you guys all probably scooped up off the waiver wire, is wide receiver Devin Duvernay for the Baltimore Ravens versus the Miami Dolphins. Listen, I know he's exciting, hot waiver pickup, as I mentioned, and it's really hard to ignore those 2 touchdowns. But don't forget here, Rashad Bateman is the wide receiver 1 in that offense, and Mark Andrews didn't find the end zone, okay? So those touchdowns that went to Duvernay will likely be going to Mark Andrews this week. So I would hold off on starting Devin Duvernay. The matchup is not good. The Miami Dolphins defense is surprisingly stout against the run. In fact, they're stout against almost every position. I'm glad you picked him up off waivers. Don't start him this week. Next one, Dameon Pierce and Rex Burkhead. Like I said, kind of picking on the Texans like I picked on the Lions, but if you have any way, shape, or form that you don't have to start Dameon Pierce or Rex Burkhead, please don't. I understand Rex Burkhead got like 9.5 points, whatever. There are other options. The matchup is gross against the Broncos, like I said. Plus, this is going to be a high-scoring game from the Broncos side. They really need to have a get-right game after Russell Wilson's just failed attempt at a revenge game. So if you can avoid it, please avoid it at all costs, starting either Dameon Pierce or Rex Burkhead. My very last sit of the week, this should come as no surprise, is Tony Pollard. The Dallas offense, I don't know what's going on. This is terrible. This is such terrible news. Not only do you not have Amari Cooper, he's on a new team, but Dak Prescott, he's got a plate in his thumb. That is not easy to come back from. And this means nothing but disaster, I think, for the entire offense. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be, sort of serviceable-ish. If you can get rid of him, try to find a way to do so. I think the only good possible piece in this offense is going to be Dalton Schultz and maybe Zeke if you're desperate. But Tony Pollard, he didn't look good in week one. None of the Dallas Cowboys look good in week one. I know he was a very exciting draft pick because of the splits that we saw last year between he and Zeke, but Tony Pollard is a sit for me against the Cincinnati Bengals, who held the Steelers and Najee Harris to practically nothing. So yeah, even Zeke is kind of a sit. If you can get away with sitting Ezekiel Elliott as well, I would do so. So those are my 5 starts. Those are my 5 sits for week 2. But that's not all we have for you today. No, we don't. Remember when I mentioned my promo code SML at FTN Daily to get 20% off any package? Remember that, because I want to bring up one of the most exciting tools that I absolutely love. And hang on, let me set this up here for my producer so I can show you exactly what it is that I'm talking about. This is called the FTN Splits tool. And I don't know if anyone is familiar with how cool the FTN Splits tool is, but I'm here to show you exactly why you should all be very, very excited about this. Here is the Splits tool. To get here, all you have to do, if you scroll up to the top, over here, I know it's kind of cut off here, but it'll say NFL HQ. You click on that in the upper left-hand corner, okay? It'll give you the option, click on Splits tool, and it brings you to this page. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you exactly how exciting this is. Keenan Allen's out. We know this. So Mike Williams, do we start him? Do we not start him? Is he going to do well? How do we really know? Let me show you exactly how powerful this tool is. Right here on the left-hand side, I'm circling it with my mouse. We're going to go ahead and choose a team or a player. We're going to choose a player. And right now we are going to look at Mike Williams. So we're going to type in his name, Mike Williams. Let's find him. All right, because we're going to be comparing Mike Williams to Keenan Allen. And let me show you how we get there in just a minute. Hit that next button. And we're going to do period of time. For the sake of relevancy, I'm going to go ahead and just do the 2021 season with Justin Herbert. I mean, I like these two. I want to see what this looks like in the most relevant, most recent way between these two wide receivers. And we're going to go ahead. We could do weeks. If you want to do weeks, you can go for it. If not, you don't have to. It is not 100% necessary to do so. We're going to hit next. This is where it gets fun. So I'm going to compare this big guy, Mike Williams, right there, to a player of my choosing. And as I mentioned before, I want to show you guys what happens to Mike Williams when we have Keenan Allen either in or out of the game. Now, notice I did have to select the position here first in order to locate the player. Just be aware of that. All right. Now, here in this next box below, there's a few things that I think you should change just to make your life a little easier. We are going to take a look at snaps. That means that Keenan Allen is either having 1 to 0 or like none at all, or maybe a whole bunch. That means he's in the game. It means he's not in the game. This is greater than or equal to. Change this number to 0. Change it to a 1. And we're going to go head on right over here. This is where the magic is. Okay, everybody. This is beautiful, beautiful magic. Now, in order to compare, these are actually Keenan Allen's numbers, by the way, over here. We don't want that. We want to go the opposite way. So we're going to go ahead and go to Edit Display. And instead of doing in and out, we're going to go out and in, because we want to see what happens to Mike Williams when Keenan Allen is out. And actually, you know what? It's split the other way. So we're going to go back and do it this way. My bad. Okay, everybody, check it out. See all those greens? This is very good for Mike Williams when Keenan Allen is out. I absolutely love this tool. It's kind of one of those ways you can decide on a start and sit. Are you hemming and hawing about Mike Williams? This is the easiest way to do it. All right, so I'm going to get rid of these, and I'm going to do one more player here because I want to show you how cool it is and how relevant it is to exactly what we're doing right now. Again, I'm going to go back up to the player selection, and I'm going to go take a look at Tyler Boyd because we have some question marks going on with T. Higgins. So exactly how does this help T? We know it's going to be great for Jamar Chase, but what is this going to do for Tyler Boyd if T. Higgins does miss time because he's in the concussion protocol? All right, I'm keeping the same stuff. I'm actually going to take the weeks off there and just do the 20 to 21 season. So let's go ahead and go back. Let's go next. Snaps include snaps less than, greater, equal to. Here we go. And check out those numbers. See all that green? Isn't that beauteous? We like the green. Let's do an edit display. Let's go and out. Now, we are doing some updates to our splits tools too. So make sure you go ahead and check back in with the splits tool almost every day. This will also help you with bets. This will help you with props. This is one of the coolest things to use. In fact, you know what? That's why, because it's against Keenan Allen. Another good thing, note to self, we're going to do against T. Higgins because I had him up against Keenan Allen. That's not what we want. We're going to change this to a 1. There we go. That's how easy it was to switch players. And still, look, check that out. This gives you all the numbers, the targets difference, reception difference, receiving yards different, touchdowns difference. And it even gives you the difference in fantasy points from full PPR, half PPR to standard. It is really hard to get better than this tool, my friends. And we are improving it every single week. There's more stuff that goes in it. In fact, there's a little button right up here that says updates. And every time there's an update, it'll let you know. You click on it, and it tells you what new awesome feature is here in our tools. And it's very, very exciting. All righty, producer Fox, put my big, beautiful, tired, gross hair face back up on the screen for me, my dearest. Yes. See, that's why I love bossing my producer around. Poor man. He has to put up with me twice a week, actually, because I'm also on with Jake Seeley. But now that we've gone over our splits tools, everybody, I will be bringing that tool up again, and I will be showing you different ways that you can use it, different ways that you can compare players, even teams against other teams, against different years. There's tons of great historical data that you can use. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool, but the only way that you can get it is if you are logged in, a member of FTN Fantasy, and you can do that at 20% off if you use my promo code SML. Now, I see that we have a bunch of people here commenting, and that is so awesome to see. I'm going to go ahead and try to get to these if you guys have any questions. And then Chris Meany, who does everyone like, KC or Los Angeles Chargers? Simply because I like the run game a little bit better, I'm going to go with the Chargers. But I think this game is going to be absolutely fantastic. Thank you for throwing that up for me, Fox. Again, poor Fox. He's got to put up with me. I love it. All righty. And my beautiful, wonderful, amazing husband also agrees. I'm kidding. He doesn't. He disagrees with me. No, honey, go Chargers, not Chiefs. We're going to go Chargers. Plus, I like Justin Herbert's hair just a little bit better. Not fantasy relevant whatsoever, but I don't really care. Hashtag analysis. All right. And he thinks they're going to cover the spread. And then Willie Beeman, thank you so much for joining me. I can never know if it's Beeman or Bayman, but thank you so much for joining, Willie. You are one of my favorites. Taking the over on Eckler's receiving yards. Yeah, I would do that. I would take the over on Eckler's receiving yards. In fact, let me go ahead and just check out exactly what those are. Receiving yards are 37.5. I would definitely go over on Eckler's receiving yards there. And then love the over on Eckler's receiving yards. JD Smooth, hello, my friend. How am I feeling about DeAndre Carter? Not amazing. I don't feel awesome about it. I know that there's going to be a temptation to want to chase the points here. I don't necessarily think that you have to do that. Josh Palmer is still in the mix here. Mike Williams is going to have a big uptick in games. Gerald Everett might actually be a thing. If you're in a really deep league, he also could be a great DFS play too. But for regular redraft, when you're talking 10 to 12 person league, I'm not thrilled. I kind of need to see a little bit more from him, so I'm not going to chase the points on Carter. But keep an eye on him because he did play very well. And then Lee Ving, speaking of Gerald Everett, play Everett Thursday or wait for Kittle, Cab or Merlot. This is a good one. I'll address the first one. I would play Everett on Thursday. I'm nervous about George Kittle's injury, but I'm also nervous about George Kittle because of Trey Lance, okay? That is not pretty to me. I really like Trey Lance because of his fantasy upside with his legs. Don't really trust his arm quite yet. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel's going to be rushing, but Ayuk and George Kittle really worry me. So I might go a little bit safer play on here and go Everett. Speaking of which, I prefer a lighter as opposed to, a Cabernet, a little bit sweeter. Merlot is also a little sweet, but I like the white. Yeah, I'm gonna have a little toast. Here's a toast to you, my friends. Everyone who is joining me, thank you again so much. Let's keep going down here and make sure I'm getting all of your questions. For everyone who is so kind enough to join me live, I love you. Which two would you start in half PPR? Darrell Henderson, AJ Dillon, or CeeDee Lamb? This is going to be a process of elimination because I'm not playing CeeDee Lamb if I can help it. It's gross. It's not pretty with everything that's going on. Cooper Rush may just have to target him over and over and over again, but that doesn't mean that he's actually going to be getting the ball to CeeDee Lamb. So get him out of there. You're starting Henderson and you're starting Dillon, who I like anyway. So I don't hate those two options to begin with, but you're fading CeeDee Lamb. We need to see what happens with Cooper Rush. If CeeDee Lamb has a good game, though, feel free to trade him. So you don't have to trade him at a loss, in my opinion. JD Smooth, DeAndre Carter, Johan Dotson, or Bobby Trees. Okay. I'm going to stay away from DeAndre Carter. You have two options here. Robert Woods did not have a great showing. The Titans didn't really have a great showing to begin with either. However, I still think that there needs to be another option for wide receiver in the Tennessee's offense, because that's the only way that Robert Woods is going to be able to have any kind of chance to be open for Tannehill to target him. All right. So for me, I'm going to go Jahan Dotson. It is a boomer bust play. Robert Woods is marginally safer, but I want to go the upside on Dotson against the atrocious, Detroit Lions. And then let's see. Oh, yes. Hello. How am I feeling? I'm just kidding. I know there's a question attached to that, but I'm feeling great. How am I feeling about Jordan Mason or Tyrion Davis-Price? You can get either one of them off the waiver wire. Jeff Wilson Jr. is not the answer. See, I want to disagree with you. I believe it's Al S. I want to disagree with you here. I think that Jeff Wilson is going to get a ton of volume. If you have room to stash one of those, I would go with Davis-Price by a hair over Jordan Mason. But Jordan Mason's gaining some traction, okay? He is gaining some traction. He was not a healthy scratch, let's put it that way. But I do like Jeff Wilson Jr. because he's going to have volume. Is it pretty? No. Is it sexy? No. Is it explosive? Meh. But he's going to get a ton of volume. I think he's the safer play. But if you really do want to stay away from Jeff Wilson, Tyrion Davis-Price by a little hair. Go with your gut on that one. All right, and we have the Tootsie Pop. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me, sweetheart. Flex, full PPR, Sterling Shepard. He's a thing again, right? Tyler Lockett or Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think in this situation here, let's go safety in a PPR format, darling. Let's go Sterling Shepard. I know it's Daniel Jones. This isn't something that I'm super duper excited about. Tyler Lockett is going to be boomer bust, but I'm going to go Sterling Shepard because he's been proven that he can get it done with Daniel Jones. Well, he needs a medal for it, I have to say. Geno Smith surprised me, but DK Metcalf is his boo. I'm going to go with Sterling Shepard on that one. And then Leaving believes it's going to be Mason. I don't blame you. I really don't. It's kind of a toss-up for me. I lean Tyrion Davis-Price, but really just by a hair. I personally really like Jeff Wilson Jr., but you guys do you. Remember, fantasy football is educated guessing. All right, go with your gut. We do have access to a lot more tools, a lot more research, because this is our full-time job, right? But you guys have other jobs you have to do where you're not staring at numbers and data all the time, but always go with your gut. Dustin Taylor, thank you for joining. Half PPR, Higbee or Everett? I'm staying away from Higbee. He terrifies me. I'm going to go Everett. I'm going to go Everett in this very high-flying offense, and you are more than welcome. I love this one. Starter sit, Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, man. Between Julio Jones and Michael Thomas, what year is it? Right? Now all we need is like Kenny Golladay to go freaking nuclear, and then we'll be back to like circa 2017. It'd be amazing. We're going to start Michael Thomas. I really like what Michael Thomas is able to do. Jarvis Landry got a lot of work in between the 20s, and Jameis Winston does like Jarvis Landry, but when it comes to surefire touchdowns in the end zone, Michael Thomas is the way to go. He's that end zone touchdown dude. And Leaving, you are so more than welcome. Oh, and it is Beeman. Yes, from any given Sunday. Okay, so I did get it right. All right. And then Diamond Hands. You joined late. That's okay. You can always watch the replay too. We're here. I'm so glad you got to join us live. Tunyon or Taysom Hill? Okay. This is tough. This is a really tough one because I'm going to throw a caveat on this. I am going to lean Robert Tunyon. All right. I'm leaning Robert Tunyon. And the reason why is because I think Alvin Kamara is going to suit up, which does put a hamper on everything that happened with Taysom Hill. Now, Taysom Hill is a boom or bust player who is capable of doing everything in that offense, including playing quarterback. So he is a wild card. If I want a little bit of safety at the tight end position, which is tough when you're looking for upside, you're going to need upside elsewhere on your roster, I would go ahead and go with Robert Tunyon. Aaron Rodgers needs help in that offense, and those rookies aren't the answer quite yet. He's going to have to rely on Aaron Jones. He's going to have to rely on Robert Tunyon. If you really want to be feisty and you need some upside with a no guaranteed points at all, you can go Taysom Hill. The caveat on this is if Alvin Kamara does not suit up, Taysom Hill all day long. I absolutely love it. All right, I'm going to get to just a few more questions before we let you go. Also, big, huge shout out and thank you to all of my friends, my followers, my coworkers who retweeted and pushed the social media tweets so that I could get your questions. We have some submitted from people who were not able to join us live, but will be able to watch the replay. So let me go ahead and get to a few of those. So TBX Seed from Twitter. Would I take the trade of sending Robbie Anderson over for DK Metcalf? Yes, I would do that. I'm going to take some, I hate the G word, but guaranteed volume with Geno Smith over the boomer bust of Robbie Anderson. So I do like that. And then we have a PS5 fan 80. Man, the PlayStation 5, that sounds pretty fun. I really like that. Anyway, you're trying to decide who to start between Taysom Hill and Robert Tonyan. Weird, like I said. Same answer. Same answer there. Be careful. High upside with Taysom Hill if no Kamara, but I'm going to lean Robert Tonyan just to be a little bit safer. He also really, really needs an upside. Try to find upside elsewhere. But if Alvin Kamara doesn't suit up, Taysom Hill all day long. Jason Quinn, very long time follower of mine. Thank you so much, Jason, for submitting your question from Twitter. Would I play CD Lamb, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Moore, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Brandon Ayuk at flex, half PPR? Woo, that's a lot. I'm rolling Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like what he's been able to do. Again, there's going to be a lot of points that are being scored. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire can get it done in the air and on the ground. So I like his opportunity here going up against the Chargers. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of points going around. And I also don't like the other options that we have on there. I think this is kind of the better one out of who you're going to put in at flex. But those are excellent options at your flex position, by the way. Well done drafting. He also wants to know redraft. Would I drop George Pickens for Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel, that is, Jarvis Landry, or Jacoby Myers? His current rostered wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, McLaurin, Cooks, Elijah Moore. Nah. I would not do that. Give Pickens a little bit of time. For these young rookies, everybody, I know everyone is in this love-hate relationship and wanting to rage drop all of these rookies that didn't do well. Drake London, Chris Olave, Pickens. Relax. Give them a few weeks. They are brand new to the NFL. This is a speed of which they are not currently used to whatsoever. Give them just a hot minute here as they try to get used to the pace and all of this pressure that comes with the NFL. Hang on to George Pickens. I would not drop him. Adam Hottie from Instagram. Chase Edmonds, Jeff Wilson, or Terry McLaurin in your flex. If you want safety, I would go Jeff Wilson because of his volume. But again, picking on the Lions, I really like Terry McLaurin as a starter. I also like him in DFS. So I would go Terry McLaurin for the upside. And then Ed Russman, also from Instagram. Rest of season standard, Drake London or Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about these rookies, and I'm going to stick with it. I think rest of season, you're going to want to have Drake London on that offense. So I would stick with Drake London. Give him a few weeks before he can get himself, a little acclimated. These guys are young. Took me a little bit, of time whenever you start a new job in a new place, in a new era, learning the phone systems. That's always a big one for me. Learning how to use the tools that we have, such as the splits tools. Again, we have so much great content over at FTN Fantasy, and it's not just FTN Fantasy. We have FTN Daily. We have FTN Bets. So many things, projections, Jeff Radcliffe stuff. And we also have free stuff too. But if you want to get access to that amazing content, use my promo code SML. That's just Stepmom Lauren right there on the screen. You get 20% off any package over at FTN Fantasy. And also, you guys, PrizePicks. Easy peasy over-unders. Go ahead and head to the replay back at this and re-listen to those options on the over-under picks for your TNF PrizePicks. Sign up, promo code FTN. You get your deposit matched, your first deposit. I really want to reiterate that too, because someone's like, I deposited. I'm like, but you're already on there, so it doesn't work. First deposit up to $100 matched is free money, my friends. Enter your picks in at FTN Daily on our free pick tracker tool and join us on the PrizePick Discord channel. That's super fun too, also free. And there you go. Make sure you are following us on social media at FTN Fantasy. You can also follow us at FTN Daily. You can follow us FTN Bets. And you can follow me, Stepmom Lauren. I'll be here every Wednesday giving you your TNF prize picks and also your starts and sits and answering your questions. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next Wednesday night.